Alright, this is going to be the in-cab portion of the pre-trip inspection. So, first off, you want to start getting in the truck. Use 3 points of contact. Alright, now to get started, we're going to go with our seatbelt first. Our seatbelt is properly mounted and secured. Not ripped, torn, or frayed. And it latches and unlatches properly. And over here on our driver's side, we have our ABC fire extinguisher. The needle is in the green, which means it's full, and the pin is in the trigger. All right. Then here we have our DOT reflector triangles. They are properly mounted and secured. They should be red and orange in color. And if I were to sit these triangles outside, they will be able to stand on their own. All right, then up here, we have our extra fuses for every fuse in the truck if we need fuses. Okay, now from here, we're gonna do our we're gonna check our ABS and DEF light on the dashboard, make sure it turns on and turns off. Also, you wanna look in your mirror to make sure that your ABS light turns on as well. So we're gonna turn the key to the on position. All right, now our DEF light and our ABC light turned on the dashboard, and we have our light on in the back on the ABS. All right, now from here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna perform our safe start. Now to perform our safe start, we're gonna go ahead and turn the engine on, and you wanna make sure that both of these brakes are pulled out and that you are in neutral. All right, so let's turn the vehicle on. Cover our brakes. Okay, start the vehicle up. Alright, now from here we're gonna start by talking about our our driver's side mirror and mirror mount. Our mirror is not cracked or chipped or broken, no illegal stickers, and it is adjusted for me to see out of, and it's properly mounted and secured. Our mirror bracket is not bent, broke, or cracked, not missing any nuts, bolts, or screws, and it too is properly mounted and secured. Over on the passenger side, we have our mirror and mirror mount as well. It's not chipped, broke, or cracked, no illegal stickers. It is adjusted for me to see out of, and it's properly mounted and secured. Our mirror bracket as well, not bent, broke, or cracked, not missing any nuts, bolts, or screws, and it too is properly mounted and secured. Now we'll talk about our windshield. Our windshield in front of us. Our windshield is not cracked, broken, or chipped, no illegal stickers, and is properly mounted and secured. We have our window rubber seal to the top here. There's no abrasions, bulges, or cuts, and it's not leaking, and it too is properly mounted and secured. All right, then from there we have our windshield wiper blades. Our windshield wiper blades are working properly. They're not bent, broke, or cracked, and they are properly mounted and secured. They're pushed flush to our windshield, and also our windshield wiper fluid is working as well. All right, and from there we're gonna go and start talking about our gauges. First, we'll talk about our thermostat gauge. It is raising to the normal. We have our primary air pressure gauge. It is rising to the normal, and it should be between 120 to 140 psi above the cutout. You have your second air pressure gauge. It too is rising to the normal. It should be between 120 to 140 psi above the cutout. We have our fuel gauge. Our fuel gauge is at half a tank, so it's ready and gassed up if we need to take it on the road. All right, we have our MPH gauge, our miles per hours. It is working properly. We have our DEF gauge. There should be no less than 1/8 in this gauge, and if it is less than 1/8, we will need to fill it. We have our battery gauge here. The battery gauge should be between 12 to 14 volts. You have your oil pressure gauge. The oil pressure gauge is at the normal level, and it is not overheating. Then we have our RPM gauge. Our RPM gauge should be It's past 5, so that means it's working normally. All right, so that's it for the gauges. Now, Mr. Examiner, we're gonna go on and we're gonna talk about our heater and our defrost. You wanna make sure that it is working properly. So what you wanna do is turn the heater all the way on and turn the defrost over. And now what you're gonna be doing is you're gonna be putting your hand to the top to make sure you feel the heat coming out of the top here. Then you wanna go to the bottom, make sure you feel the heat coming from the bottom as well. All right. So both of those are working normally and properly. So you want to turn it back over. All right, so you want to turn it back over. And now we're going to go and talk about our light indicators. We have our left turn signal, it's working properly. Our right turn signal is working properly. And you have your 4-way flashers, they are working properly. And our high beam light is also working properly. Now, Mr. Examiner, we're going to go and talk about our horns. We have our city horn, then we have our highway horn. So both of those are working properly as well. All right. So now from there, now we're going to do our service brake check. So we're going to check both of our brakes. We're going to check our tractor brake and our trailer brake. So first, we're going to start with the tractor brake. So what you want to do is make sure this is in neutral. Make sure your tractor brake is pushed out, and you want to push your trailer brake in because we're checking the tractor brake, so we leave it out. So go ahead and cover your brake, then push the trailer brake in and leave the tractor out. So what you're going to do is now we're going to give it a couple of tugs, give it one tug to make sure that the brake holds. Put it in gear first. That's embarrassing. All right, so that brake held. So you want to go ahead and put it back in neutral and pull out the trailer brake. Now you're going to switch it vice versa. You're going to put the tractor brake in and leave the trailer brake out so we can check to make sure this trailer brake holds. Make sure that's in neutral. All right, push the tractor brake in, leave the trailer out, put it back in gear. All right. Alright, so that trailer brake held. So both of those brakes are good. So now, Mr. Examiner, what we're going to do next, we're going to check our service brakes. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to push both buttons in, the tractor and the trailer brake. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it in gear and we're going to move forward 3 to 5 miles per hour. Then we're going to come to a smooth stop. And what we're looking for is to make sure that the wheel isn't turning left or right, which would mean we have a service brake problem. So let's perform that now. All right. All right, put that back in neutral, pull both buttons. All right, so we were able to move forward and come to a smooth stop. So that means that our service brakes are working properly. Now from here, this is where we start our labs test. All right. So start your lab test. You want to make sure both of these buttons are pushed in. Okay. So let's push them in. And then you're going to move to first gear. And then you want to go ahead and turn your vehicle off. All right. So our vehicle is off and we're parked. So now what we're going to do, first, Mr. Examiner, we're going to do our brake leakage test. So what we're going to do is we're going to set our timer for 1 minute. And within that 1 minute, we shouldn't lose more than 4 PSI within that minute. All right. So first, I skipped the part. So you want to turn the vehicle to the on position first before you start that. All right. So we're in the on position. And now you want to put pressure onto the brakes. And once the needle stabilizes, you want to go ahead and start your 1 minute. All right. So let's get started.
Space in church.
So we're gonna pretend like a minute's going because this truck actually has an air brake leak. All right, so 1 minute has passed and we didn't lose any air within our brakes. So the brakes are good to go. So now, Mr. Examiner, what we're going to do next is we're going to start our alarms test. Now, we start our alarms test, we're going to apply pressure to the brakes until we hear or see our alarm go off on the dashboard, okay? And the alarm should go off at or before it should go at 55 PSI or before 55 PSI. So let's get started. All right, Mr. Examiner, the alarm popped up on the dashboard. This truck doesn't have alarm sound, but it popped up on the dashboard. So we passed our alarms test. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna continue to pressure our brakes to perform our buttons test. Now we're gonna apply pressure to the brakes, and we're gonna see both of our buttons pop out, and they should pop out at 40 PSI or below 40 PSI. So let's go ahead and start pumping and look for the buttons to pop out. All right, so both buttons popped out at 40 PSI, and that completes our buttons test. And so now let's turn this vehicle back on and put your gear back in neutral. All right, brakes are buttons are out, and that, Mr. Examiner, concludes the in-cab portion of the pre-trip.